Playing Modern is expensive. Just look at this. The top deck is $1,500. The next best one is $800, and it doesn't really get much better as you go down the list. But that's okay though, because I'm here to show you a deck that I've been playing in Modern, which costs only a small fraction of the price that pretty much any of the most played decks do. It only costs about $100, and also this deck reliably wins games. The deck that I'm playing is basically just my Pioneer deck, which is also basically just my standard deck, and yes, it's a mono red aggro deck. Some people would call this deck mono red prowess, but I like to call it aggressive red cards which I own, because basically that's how I came to put this exact version of the list together. This deck is pretty much a best of collection of the top red aggressive cards from the various standard formats of the past decade or so, which also happens to include some of the best red aggressive cards ever printed. The idea is to play cheap, hasty red creatures, many of which have prowess or care about casting non-creature spells, and then back them up with burn spells to finish out the game. Starting off in the 1-drop slot, this deck plays 12 1-drop creatures. Of course, we have 4 copies of Monastery Swiftspear. We also have 4 copies of Soulscar Mage, sometimes referred to as Monastery Slowspear, since it's basically the same thing just without haste. It also has this other cool ability which can be relevant, but it's not really the reason we're playing the card. The third 1-mana creature we're playing is actually an enchantment, and it doesn't even start out as a creature. We're playing 4 copies of Kumano Faces Kakazan. This card was insanely powerful when it was in Standard, and it's also very good in this deck. It's basically like 3 cards rolled into 1. For 1 mana, it does 1 damage right away, then the next turn it makes one of our creatures bigger, and then the next turn it becomes a 2/2 with haste. It's a bit slow in regards to playing it as a creature, since the earliest it can be attacking is turn 3, but the fact that it deals damage right away and it's also a non-creature spell that triggers prowess makes it actually quite good still, and I've been very happy with playing it in this deck. There's only one other creature in the deck, and it costs 2 mana. We're playing 4 copies of Slickshot Show Off. This is a card which I actually don't play in my standard version of mono red aggro, despite it being in standard, but it fits very well in this modern deck because of how many non-creature spells we're casting. It's not uncommon to be attacking with this card for 5 or 7 damage on turn 3. One thing I want to say about this card though is that I see a lot of people using its plot ability when they really shouldn't be using it. You don't need to get overly tricky when you're playing with this card. Don't be afraid to just run it out on turn 2 and attack for 1 damage. In a deck like this, that 1 damage can often make the difference between winning or losing the game. Now onto the non-creature spells, and yes, I know Kumano Faces Kakazan should technically be in this section. We have a decent number of burn spells, so for sure we're going to be playing 4 copies of Lightning Bolt. We also have 4 copies of Lava Spike. You could be playing Bolt Wave instead of Lava Spike, but for the sake of the deck's budget, Lava Spike does just fine. Also, to help with maximizing prowess triggers, we're playing 4 copies of Lava Dart, which can do some pretty broken stuff when combined with Slickshot Show Off. And similarly, we're playing 4 copies of Manamorphose as well. The next card though is what I think is one of the best red aggressive cards that's ever been printed, and it's also currently in Standard. I gave this card similar praise when I made a video about winning a Pioneer tournament with it when I was playing basically a Standard deck in Pioneer, but this card is Monstrous Rage. For just 1 mana, you get plus 3 power the turn you play this card. You also get plus 1 toughness, and then you also get a prowess trigger, but the thing that really pushes this card over the edge is that you get trample, and not just until the end of the turn. Your creature gets +1/+1 and trampled forever after this card resolves. This is a huge deal in a prowess deck like this, where we want to be attacking with creatures that have temporary buffs from us casting non-creature spells. I think that Monstrous Rage is easily one of the best cards in the deck. The last non-land card we're playing is 4 copies of Light Up the Stage. This is one that I don't really see people play very often anymore, but I still like it a lot. It's a non-creature spell which triggers prowess, but it also gives us some extra resources to keep going when we start running out of gas. You could be playing something like Reckless Impulse or Ren's Resolve, but being able to cast Light Up the Stage for just 1 mana makes a big difference. And now on to the lands. We're playing 20 lands, and we have a few different utility lands to help with our strategy. We're playing 1 copy of Den of the Bugbear as a land which we can turn into a creature and attack with. We have 2 copies of Fiery Islet to be able to sacrifice and draw a card if we're drawing too many lands. You can also play Sunbaked Canyon instead of this. it makes zero difference really as long as it taps for red mana. We also have one copy of Sokenzon, Crucible of Defiance. It's basically a free inclusion, but it can make some hasty 1/1s that we can attack with. And then we've got 4 copies of Ramunap Ruins. This is another card that I've talked about before in regards to how much I like playing it, but it works very well in this deck. I've lost count of the number of times I've won games specifically because of this card. It allows you to win games that are otherwise unwinnable because it does 2 damage without you having to cast a spell or even target an opponent, so it gets around hexproof, and it can't be countered unless your opponent has a way to counter an activated ability. That's all for the utility lands though. When choosing these, I made sure to choose ones which can tap for red mana and which come into play untapped. I don't want to be slowed down at all by my lands because this deck capitalizes on attacking fast, and any kind of stumble can make a big difference. The rest of the lands are just 12 mountains, so that means in total we're playing 20 lands. I do have a sideboard for this deck, but a lot of the time I don't even need to use it because the strategy for what we're doing doesn't really change much regardless of what our opponent is playing. In the sideboard though, we have 3 copies of Rending Volley as an uncounterable spell to take care of blue and white things. We've got 4 copies of Skullcrack to stop life gain. We have 4 Smash to Smithereens to take care of artifacts. And then we've got 4 copies of Ghostfire Slice. This card is in the sideboard to deal with things that have protection from red. In the past, I've played Reality Hemorrhage in the sideboard of decks like this, and it's worked well, but I see Ghostfire Slice as usually an improvement, because even at worst, it's 4 damage at instant speed for 3 mana, which is still pretty good. Cards like this are great at taking care of things like Sanctify Renvek or Core Firewalker. And that's the deck. It's cheap, it's fun, and it wins games. To see the full deck list, you can find a link in the video description to this list on Moxfield. Using Moxfield is my preferred way to build and view deck lists. All of the information for all the cards is right there, with the card and deck pricing available as well. You can even edit the specific printing of the cards you have in your deck if you have any particularly fancy versions of cards you like playing. I encourage you to check out my link to Moxfield for any of your deck building needs. And also, if you want to purchase any of these cards, you can buy them at mtgnorth.ca. MTG North has a nice selection of both singles and sealed product, and if you use code 8thPlaceDave at the checkout, you can save 5% on your order of any TCG singles. You can check out my link to MTG North in the video description as well. Now though, I'll leave you with a bit of gameplay of this deck, so you can get an idea of how it can play out. We're playing against Moit. They say good luck, have fun. I say you too. This hand is quite good. Let me make it a bit bigger here. We have 2 lands, which is the number you want to start with. We have 1-drop creature, we have non-creature spells. It's a bit heavy on creatures. They've got a young wolf here. Draw another Slickshot show off, which is not ideal. That's kind of a lot of creatures. We would like to see more non-creatures. We attack and they block. They've got a Shifting Woodland and another young wolf here. They're getting aggressive. So we draw another mountain. That's actually pretty good. We can play a Slickshot show off, get in for some damage in the air. We'll probably just attack with both of them actually, I think. We want to get these young wolves, get the Undying out of the way right away basically, so they can't really do too much broken stuff with it. Okay, they block. They've got a Misty Rainforest and Agatha's Soul Cauldron. They do not attack. Okay, so they're probably looking to block. This should be a pretty good turn. I might want to hold up the Lava Spike actually to get even more damage in next turn with the 3rd Slickshot. So we'll probably just get in for 2 in the air here. Okay, they take 2. We'll just play out this other Swift Spear. We're fetching for an Underground Mortuary, gonna surveil something on top. They've got Boseiju, so they're up to 4 mana now. They could play Yawgmoth. If they play Yawgmoth though, we win. Well, actually no we don't. We would still need to draw another non-creature spell in order to win. We do draw a non-creature spell, so let's see, I could go Slickshot and Lava Spike. Actually, I think if I just go Lava Spike, that might be enough prowess triggers. Yeah, that should be good enough, I think. So we're gonna Lava Spike them, get a bunch of triggers. They go to 13 and we'll do it again. Well, they're at 10 and we have 10 power in the air here alone, so looks like it should be game. Alright. Sideboarding, I probably just change nothing. This would be a risky keep, although we're on the draw because there's only 1 land. It's also a pain land. If I was on the play, I would not keep this, but I think on the draw, this is probably okay to keep. Because we have 2 draws to find a land before it becomes a problem. They're going to mulligan to 5, okay. Okay, they keep. Verdant Catacombs. Okay, they've got a tap land, so no turn 1 Young Wolf. They leave it on top. Let's see if we draw a land. No. So I'll probably open up with that Kumano there. Usually, if you have a Kumano as your 1-drop to play on turn 1, you just want to always play that on turn 1 because you know you want it to turn into a creature as soon as possible. I fetch with the Misty and get a Malevolent Rumble. Okay, so that's gonna ramp them a bit, and they get a Blood Artist. Interesting. Sack the Eldrazi right away to play a Haywire Might. Well, that can gain them some life. It can also stop the Kumano. They could sacrifice it to destroy that, which would be annoying. I think what we'll do here, though, is play the Soulscar Mage and then probably just Lava Dart the Haywire Might right away so that they can't sacrifice it to destroy the Kumano. Okay, so interesting. Dredger's Insight. Did not expect to see this in Modern, but here it is. And pretty good. It gains them life. Maybe this is a sideboard card. We drawn a land. The land is a good draw here. We can have this should be a pretty good turn. Start with a Lava Spike to the face, and then we'll light up the stage. We'll get some Prowess triggers, see what we got off light up the stage. Another Kumano. That's pretty good. It's a Prowess trigger and also a creature for later on. A pretty big hit here. Fetch down to 7 to Surveil again. So they got 4 lands now. What are they going to do with it? Yawgmoth. Okay, that's... I think... Yeah. Oh, we should have it here. And we'll probably just play the Slick Shot. Lava Spike them. Yeah, we can cast everything. Yawgmoth has protection from humans, but... doesn't really matter. We do have 2 humans in play, but we just have more than enough to overwhelm them. Yeah, they can block something, but it doesn't matter. And there we go. We did it. Alright, next match. We are against Whoops. They say, hi, have fun. This hand is not that good. We don't have any creatures. This one is better. We only have 1 land, so we would be looking to draw a land, hopefully. Probably pitch one of these Kumanos. They have a Flooded Strand. We'll start off with the Kumano, I think. Next turn, hopefully draw a land, and then probably just play 2 creatures. This could be setting up a turn 3 win, potentially, how things go. Looks like they're playing some kind of control deck. Prismatic Ending. Haven't seen that in a while. There goes our Kumano. We did draw a land, which is nice, so we'll just toss out a couple of these creatures. Try and get in for a damage. And they concede. Okay. It's almost as if they could see our hand. Maybe they were missing their 3rd land drop or something. I don't know. I could bring in maybe Skullcrack. They could have some life gain in the sideboard or something. I might just change nothing again. I probably just change nothing. They're on the play again. This is a good hand. We have 2 lands. We have 1-drop creature. We have a Monstrous Rage. Once again, it's a bit heavy on the creatures, but that's okay. I feel like I would rather be heavy on creatures than non-creatures. Because if they kill our creatures, we can just play more to replace them. They're going to fetch to find a Surveil land. Put it on top. Okay. Next turn, I'll probably just... I think I'm just going to play the Slick Shot show off. Could go like Swift Spear, Monstrous Rage, attack in. That could be a fine play, but I think I'm going to play it a little bit slower and just go with the Slick Shot and set up a bigger turn next turn, because I'll have more creatures in play with Prowess for when I cast the Monstrous Rage. Narset, that's fine. They find a big Teferi. If we could draw in that's a good draw. So we'll just go Swift Spear, Monstrous Rage, and hopefully get in for a whole bunch of damage. They block the Slick Shot, so I'll Monstrous Rage the Slick Shot, and then also probably the Swift Spear, I guess? I don't know if it really matters which other one. I don't know how much damage this is, but it's a lot if it happens. Okay, we got in 14 there. They could have a Wrath or something here, which would be annoying, but we do have 2 Swift Spears to follow it up with. That would be 2 damage just there. That would bring them down to 2, which is in range of Ramunap Ruins. Stock up, that's seems like a move of desperation. a land. I'm not sure what they can play at this point. They kill that, so they're dead to literally anything here. Like they could have a Solitude or something. I could just light up the stage, but I think I'll go Swift Spear, and just attack. And there we go. We did it. So as you can see, the deck is fast. This is just a small sample of gameplay, so not every game is going to go like this, but a lot of them do. But if you're still watching though, thanks for watching. It'd be cool if you can like and subscribe and all that kind of stuff. Everyone should come join my Discord server. You can find a link to that in the video description below. And you can also find a link to my Patreon in the video description, where you can find the Token of the Month tier, where I send out a new custom foil token to patrons on this tier every month. I'd like to thank all the patrons that support me on Patreon though. But otherwise though, thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you later.